Hello friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where we are taking a look at Shattered Glass Starscream, the new one, the Generations something something Shattered Glass Starscream. It's funny, I got kind of sick of the Siege Seeker mold, which is unapologetically what this is, and I ended up selling off all of my Siege Seekers, which I don't necessarily regret, but I kept going back and forth on this guy in particular because the deco really hits me in a good way. There's something about alternate reality good guy Starscream in Jetfire colors that just really speaks to me. I guess spoilers for the rest of the video, but the deco on this guy is spectacular. I am extremely glad I got him because he is gorgeous. As you can clearly see, it's a Siege Seeker in Jetfire colors, but it looks really good. It's a really nice bright white, nice matte red. The matte black in a few places really stands out nicely, and that blue, it's almost as good as Siege Ratchet's windshield. I love that blue they used on Siege Ratchet. It works so well with white and red, and here I feel like if it was just a little bit darker, it would be perfect, but it still looks great. It pops really, really nicely on that whole section. And the rest of it is all the way around just the Siege Seeker mold, where you've got the detailing, the boosters, the cockpit chest just sitting there on the back. But it is very cool. You might also notice that he's got some accessories stuck to the bottom there. He's got the usual null rays. Don't know if they're called something different in the Shattered Glass universe, but he's got those. And then he also has these sword blade things, which I do think look really cool sticking off the ends like that. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this. As I said, it's the Siege Seeker mold. I feel like have I already talked about this? I'm pretty sure I did a video on a Siege Seeker at least once, I think. Pretty sure I did. But it does the cheating thing where basically the vehicle is just up here and can pop off, and then there's just a balled up robot underneath. You can see that balled up robot pretty well, even from this angle. But it doesn't bother me with this figure at all, and I think that's because of the deco. It's just a really nice selection of colors. The paint's looking really, really crisp, and we'll see it in robot mode, but it looks particularly spectacular in robot mode. As far as size goes, it's the Siege Seeker mold, so it's exactly the same size as any other Siege Seeker. It's Voyager. Most of the mass is in the kind of center section towards the back, because that's where the robot is balled up. It's not a bad size. It just doesn't hide the robot kibble very well. And then for the transformation, if you're familiar with the Siege Seeker mold, I'm going to be saying that a lot, I'm sorry. But if you're familiar with that, then it's the exact same transformation, because it's the exact same figure. I don't dislike the transformation at all. I think it's perfectly satisfying to pull off. It just kind of is a shame that so much of the robot is just balled up underneath Tetrajet shell. And like the fake cockpit torso just kind of sticking off in the back seems a little bit, even though I'm not British, I believe the best word to use is cheeky. But it's not a bad transformation. It gets the job done, it's inoffensive, it's not bad by any means. There are even some relatively clever bits to it, like the way the arms telescope out and the fists flip around all at once. Yes, the entire Tetrajet is basically just on his back as kibble now, but I do think it's kind of cool how the nose cone splits apart and flips around to form those shoulder pylons. I know other people have pointed out too, I'm just reiterating that, but it is really cool. And what we're left with is, it's the Siege Seeker mold, but look at these colors! Look at this deco, it's immaculate! It looks incredible. The predominantly white looks great on its own, but like these matte black bits here and there, the red, that blue for the cockpit section, it looks so good. And the white, the tone of white that they used here, I feel like it's just enough that you can still see like how overly greebled this whole thing is, because there's a lot of molded detail, because it's Siege, and it's a little bit much, but that shade of white, I feel like it's just enough that it's there, but your brain won't focus on it. So like I'm looking at this and I can tell that there's all this molded detail around it, but my eye is drawn more towards the black and the red and the blue than it is to the molded detail all over the white plastic. That works out really, really nicely. I have a weird soft spot for Shattered Glass Starscream's color scheme. And I know it's basically just Jetfire's color scheme, but like for some reason, when it's applied to figures that are supposed to be Shattered Glass Starscream, it hits me much harder. There was that repaint of Galaxy Force Starscream, or Cybertron Starscream, the actual Voyager size one, not the massive one, that they did in the Shattered Glass Starscream colors, and it looks gorgeous. And I would love to get that, but I'm not going to spend like $200 to $300 on that because no. But this, yes, this looks so good. The color breakup is fantastic. As I said, the detailing is really nice because I mean it's Siege, so of course it is. But I like that all of the major points of the body have extra color on it. Like the feet have a bit of red, the shins have black, the arms, there's no extra color really in the forearms, but you've got black and red on the shoulders, which I think makes up for that. And then of course that midsection with the red around the pelvis area and like the red, blue, and black in the torso is just so nice. They even took it a little bit further by adding a little bit of red on the undersides of the wings, which is great. I feel like it would have been a little too plain if they had left it white, so I'm glad they added some in there. I kind of feel like maybe if they added either a little bit more red or a little bit more black in a couple of places, just little small details to kind of build off of the 2 bits of red on each wing that they already have there, it would look even nicer. But it's still really nice, and it really helps to break up what could have just been a big white blanket basically behind his body. Man, this thing's pretty. And I almost forgot to actually look at the head proper. So the head proper is just Starscream's head, though with a much more neutral expression, which is kind of a shame. I don't know what the personality is of Shattered Glass Starscream, so this might be more fitting. I don't know. But, you know, it's the same head, so of course they used it. I like the colors, though. I like that the helmet is in white instead of black, because I feel like if they had done it in black, that would just look like Starscream's head. And then the light gray for the face, it stands out just enough from the white, but it doesn't overpower it because it's, you know, it's white. It's not like a much darker tone. And then you've got that light blue for the eyes, which is meant for light piping, and it works okay. But because you've got light blue light piping inside of a white head with like gray face, I feel like the blue eyes do still stand out a bit. The gray might obscure the eyes a little bit, but you can still notice them even at a distance, even in like non-fancy lighting. In terms of articulation, it's exactly the same as the Siege Seeker mold. The head is on a ball joint and can get some pretty okay tilts left and right, as well as a little bit up and down, and of course you can rotate all the way around. The arms can do a full 360 if you move the wings out of the way, and we'll get to the wings in a second. The arms can do a full 360, they can go out to 90, and because of the transformation joint, you get a very slight forward butterfly motion. You get a bicep swivel, there is a double jointed elbow, which is not even for the transformation. I mean, I guess technically it is because of the way that this hinges, but like it gives you a full elbow bend, which is great. You even get wrist swivels. Like the way this thing transforms and you still get wrist swivels, that's impressive. And also a little bit of in and out motion on the wrist too, if you want to use that transformation joint. Despite how everything comes together, you still get a waist swivel. It can't go all the way around because of the plain section stapled onto his back, but it still turns enough. The thighs go forward past 90, back. I'm sure this is a shock looking at that backpack, but back does not go very far at all because big backpack. Can go out to the sides all the way, and then you get thigh swivels. The knees are also really nice because they can bend past 90, but there's that spring-loaded panel that pops out. If you push that panel in, it gets you a little bit more, but like if you really want a super deep knee bend, that's what you can do. And then for the ankles, you do get ankle tilts. You don't get any ankle rotation, but you can tilt in a bit, forward and back a bit. Well, forward a lot and back a fair bit. Really good posability on this guy. Well, I say this guy, really it's the Siege Seeker mold in general that has the really good posability because that's just how it was built. And I can appreciate that. As for the accessories, he comes with 2 very plain white plastic null rays, which I think is fine. I'm not entirely sure if it would have been better if these were in a different color, like say black or red, to just kind of match the other colors in the color scheme. I feel like white is fine though. And then you also get the 2 swords, which are fine. They're translucent blue plastic with the hilts painted in the similar red, slightly darker, but a similar red to what we've got on the figure. And it's a little bit worrying because the thing that he's gripping is painted, so when you put him in his hand, I feel like over time that might scrape off, but it is what it is. But if you want to do something other than giving him dual swords, you can actually attach the 2 swords together. They just peg together in the spots where there are obvious pegs. And then one of the sword handles is noticeably longer than the other, so all you do is peg the longer handle into his hand, and that gives him one big sword, which is cool. I like that that's variable like that. And if you wanted to store the sword or swords and not necessarily have them sticking out of the wings, you can actually peg them onto his back. I would probably recommend not doing that because it's red painted pegs going inside silver painted peg holes, but you can do it. And then in terms of size, it's the Siege Seeker mold. Take a shot, don't take a shot. So, of course, it's the same size. It's a Voyager. It's tall-ish. But it's good. It's really, really good. And I think it was, was Brentosaur? I think it was Brentosaur on Twitter who got this guy in hand and was saying that not only is he really, really nice looking, but the joints on it feel great. Like they adjusted all the tolerances either by recasting the molds or something, I don't know. But I'm inclined to agree. Like, look at this. I'm holding him by his knee, and he's not flopping back. The joints on this guy are fantastic. Nothing is loose. The loosest joint I think this guy has is one of his elbows, and even then, it's not actually loose, it's just looser than the other joints. The tolerances are improved somehow. It's still a fun transformation, even though it's just balling up a robot underneath the shell. It's still fun to do. It looks amazing, and the posability is really nice. Like this is actually making me appreciate the Siege Seeker mold, I know, more than I was, even though I was sick of it before. And I didn't go all out on that mold like a lot of people did. I had Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp. That was it. And that was enough for me. And then when Earthrise came along, I was like, well, bye to those three. I don't regret getting rid of them, though I suppose part of me regrets getting rid of Skywarp because I could sell that for a lot of money. But it really does make me appreciate the mold because it is a good mold. I just don't care to have it multiple times in a row. That being said, I really like having this because I love these colors. It's a really nice figure, and like they really did shore up everything for this release. I can absolutely appreciate that. I would have preferred to pay the standard Voyager price for him, but I don't regret paying a little bit more because this does feel like a slightly more premium release of a figure that we've already had. Not necessarily justifiable in itself, but I feel like it's at least understandable. So that has been my look at Generation something 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 Shattered Glass Starscream. I can completely understand if you want to pass it up because you've had dozens of these already, and I feel like my case is a little bit different because I've only had 3, and I haven't had those 3 in like, geez, probably like over 2 years now. Where did the time go? I haven't had those 3 in a while, so like, it's not that egregious for me because it's not a mold that I currently have aside from this guy, and it's not one that I've had in hand for a while. If you're sick of it and you have like a whole bunch of them already, yeah, I can understand why you'd want to pass this up. If you don't have any, if you're kind of on the fence because you think the deco looks really nice, I'd say get it because the deco is really nice and it's a quality figure. But I've rambled long enough, so that's what I think. What do you all think of Shattered Glass Starscream? Just did any of his toys, really. This one, the BotCon repaint, the, what was it, Universe or something like that, where they took the Beast Machines figure and gave it the white, red, and black color scheme. Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. If you like this video or any of the other videos that I've done and you want to support the channel outside of watching the video in the first place or commenting, subscribing, liking, that kind of thing, I do have a Patreon. It's a single $1 tier, gets you early access to new videos, access to the occasional behind-the-scenes posts that I might make, and things like previews of upcoming custom projects, in progress work, that kind of thing, and eventually maybe polls so that you can weigh in on channel stuff. With all that out of the way, thank you everybody for watching, and remember, art is more than meets the eye.